Alejandra Fen, you can call me Allie. I'm a community organizer here in Barrio Logan for Environmental Health Coalition, and we're working on combating environmental racism that's been happening in this neighborhood for generations. First off, we always want to acknowledge this land is unceded Kumeyaay territory, but obviously later was there was genocide committed here. It was overtaken by the United States, and then eventually, became San Diego. And this particular neighborhood has historically been a Chicano neighborhood that was populated by a lot of laborers and working class folks who came to the U.S. A lot of folks who came as refugees from the Mexican Revolution. There actually is a history of this community where the community has always had a really strong voice and fought for what they believed in. Actually, in the 50s, the city government decided to build a highway through the community and actually demolished like about 5,000 homes in order to be able to build that freeway. And the community had asked, well, at least if you're gonna put these bridges straight through our community, can we have a park underneath there? But then what ended up happening is, without informing the community, they said, actually, you know what, we're gonna put a highway patrol station in that area where you wanted to park. So the community found out about that and they said, heck no. And they protested for 12 days and they organized and they started like putting plants in, they sang songs, they had rotations of people feeding the community in order to be able to fight for that park, and they won. And so now that's what you see in the center of the community, Chicano Park, that has been covered in all these beautiful murals and designed with the community in mind, with all of these great historical designs that reflect Chicano culture. What I'd say to the community is, I know that you have every reason to not trust the government because the government has historically given our communities the short end of the stick and we have been underfunded. But what I will say is that there is hope, because we have recently at the local level, at the county level, at the state level, elected a lot of officials that are people from our communities that care about funding projects to combat the inequities that have been happening, to fund projects that are going to give our communities the things that we desperately need, right? Like improving air quality, improving access to green spaces, and getting toxic land uses out of our residential neighborhoods that are making our friends and our neighbors and our families sick. And you have the power to use your voice to speak up for people that you know and tell your story and talk about your experience in order to help pass those policies and get those things that the neighborhood wants. If we work together, right, as a team, then obviously we can be super successful, and all we need is for you to get involved and we'll teach you how to do everything.
Mi nombre es Evangelina Trapero, vivo en Barrio Logan por 20 años. Yo tenía la idea de que toda la gente respirábamos el mismo aire y me di cuenta que era una comunidad contaminada por el viento. Mi hijo es asmático desde los 4 años, desde que yo llegué aquí, sufre de asma hasta la fecha. Entonces eso hizo que me quisiera involucrar en EHC. Con EHC he aprendido que podemos exigir a la comunidad que se junte con nosotros en una sola voz, a exigir que tenemos derecho de respirar el aire limpio. Es lo único que pedimos, aire limpio para la comunidad, para cualquier comunidad, no nada más para esta. Somos parte de San Diego y merecemos aire limpio. Estamos exigiéndole al puerto que sus camiones sean eléctricos, que no contaminen más usando diésel, porque las partículas que arrojan son demasiado dañinas para esta comunidad. Yo lo veo en mi casa, en mis plantas, todos los días amanecen negras. No tenemos la misma calidad de aire, no la tenemos. No hay persona en mi comunidad que no tenga una persona enferma, no lo hay. Tenemos un miembro, ya sean personas mayores, las mismas personas, no podemos salir a caminar porque el aire que estamos respirando es totalmente dañino para los pulmones. No importa de dónde seas, la religión que practiques, no importa. Necesitamos todos tener una sola voz, unirnos como comunidad es lo más importante porque tenemos voz.
Hi, my name is Maritza Garcia. I live here in Logan Heights, and I've lived here my whole life, so roughly about 27 years. It's weird, I don't really consider myself an activist of any sort. I just feel really strongly about my community and the well-being of my community, so I just try to do what I can to continue improving what we live in and not add to, the negative. Growing up in Logan, pollution is a big issue that we've lived in our whole lives. I grew up in it, so it's just something that's very second nature to me. And knowing that, like I said, when I stumbled upon EHC, I found that this was an organization that can actually help me get that voice that I always wanted to have to be able to advocate for my community. So I'm very passionate about us living in a healthy environment, and I want to do anything that I can to make that goal happen. I am pretty new to EHC, but I have learned that they have been around here for many, many years, decades actually. And some of the things that I learned that they helped improve in our community is, one, the port used to fumigate, and it literally was fumigating our people. And so one thing that EHC did was prohibited the port from being able to continue doing that. They also helped in eliminating a metal plating company that had over 150 violations that was actually polluting our neighbors and creating a lot of illnesses. I think that one of the biggest solutions that our community can have is having more involvement of our members. Me being a part of the community action team, where we meet once a month and actually discuss different issues within our community, find ways that we can improve it, and just have a voice for us as members to be able to advocate for our own community. I am technically third generation living in this community, so I do have very personal relations to what pollution does to your health. My grandfather passed away with lung cancer because he was never able to fully recover living in these conditions. My mom, who also grew up in this neighborhood, has had health issues, breathing problems most of her life, and as an adult has had to do undergo a couple of surgeries to actually try to rectify these negative impact, and it's with no permanent solution. She still has to constantly watch herself when it's a little bit brisk outside. Because it's so real in my life and real in all of my community members' lives, I feel extra strongly about fighting for change. Once I started talking to members of EHC and them telling me no, you don't really need to live this way, that's when I started realizing I need to use my voice more. And so I want more community members to realize that too. We don't deserve to live in this pollution all the time. So just if they can get that fire inside of them like I have that fire inside of me, I just know that we can really improve our neighborhood.
So historically, you know how I said that Logan has been underfunded in terms of access to green spaces, and we do have, Chicano Park, we have Crosby, we have Memorial Park, but there's not a whole lot of tree canopy here in the neighborhood, and you can feel it, right, in how hot it is on a hot day compared to other neighborhoods. And that's why the community has been asking for more green space. And we're currently standing in an area that seniors who've lived in this community for a couple of decades have been asking for a park on this area of land, and it was owned by Caltrans. Nothing was being done with this land. So when a community member saw that Caltrans was finally selling that land, then they got together with EHC, and the community action team and EHC worked with our local government to get the city to purchase this land so that we could start planning to build a park here. We're hoping for a park that obviously has a component where older folks in the community can take a walk through here that's nice and shady with trees and benches where folks can sit. It's gonna extend for a couple of blocks here, and obviously the community that's been waiting for this park for generations is excited to see what it's gonna look like. And so anything that you're comfortable with, we would love to have you. If you are more of an introvert and you just want to sign some petitions and blast them out to your friends on Instagram, that's fine. Or if you want to knock on doors and tell your neighbors about safe ways to vote during election season, or if you want to make phone calls, or if you there's pretty much anything for any personality type for you to get involved and help out your community. So what I do want to say is don't be afraid to see what there is that you can plug into, because we have something for you and we'd love to have you.